Hey everybody, my name is Vivianne Collins, and I was one of the hosts of Nickelodeon Games and Sports. I was also a co-host on another show called You're On. That was a hidden camera game show where there were a lot of pranks pulled on unsuspecting people. I also co-hosted 6 episodes of a show called You Pick Friday Live. And recently I was contacted by Bilal Smith. He's putting together a little movie about Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida, and he emailed me a bunch of questions and asked me to answer them. So here goes. One of the questions he asked was, what was a typical day like at Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando? And I really have to say that there really never was a typical day, and that's what made it so great. Every day at work was unique, it was different, it was special, and there was always something new thrown at you. I worked at Nickelodeon Studios for about 4 years, and I worked on those 3 shows. I worked with some fantastic people when I was co-host of Nickelodeon Games and Sports, which was a whole new network that they had developed back then. I co-hosted with Dave Azer and Maddie Moralejo. They were a lot of fun. All 3 of us had very different personalities. Maddie was known as being the wild, crazy guy who would do anything and try anything you asked him to do. And even if you didn't ask him to do it, he would try it anyway. Dave Azer, he was the super sports enthusiast, fanatic guy, and he knew tons of sports trivia. You name it, if you asked him, even stuff dating back like 50, 60 years, he had all these stats in his head. He was really genius at that. And we had a really great time because we would bounce ideas off of each other. We would get to do a lot of improv. Our producers that we worked with, they gave us a lot of freedom so we could have a lot of fun with it. And we also had a lot of fun with the guests we would have come into the studio. Let's see, when I worked on You're On, I was one of the field hosts. So it was Travis White, he was another field host. Then it was me, and we were out in the field with the kids. The kids would team up and they would have to get unsuspecting adults. They would have to get them to do 3 tasks. And of course, the tasks were basically disgusting or just really bizarre, things that it would be just odd if a stranger asked you to do. So there was usually stuff involving like a disgusting shake that they'd have to drink, and the shake might have like sardines and mayonnaise in it. And it was pretty impressive when the kids would manage to get these adults to do these really bizarre things. So Travis and I were out in the field as the hosts, and then Phil Moore, he was the studio host, and he would bring the whole game show together. And it was really a clever concept. And Phil, he was kind of like a mentor for me because when I first started at Nickelodeon, You're On was one of my first shows. He was the main host of it, and he had such a wealth of knowledge because, Phil, he was like Mr. Nickelodeon. He and Mark Summers both were, and Phil gave me a lot of helpful tips on just how to do my job, and I really appreciated it. Actually, I just chatted with Phil the other day, and his fun, enthusiastic personality that he had back then, he still has it. That's just all Phil. So that was another great show to work on. You Pick Friday Live. We only did about 6 episodes of that. I co-hosted it with Dave Azer, and we had a lot of fun doing it. It was an evening type of show that they were trying out on Nickelodeon. So those were the shows that I did. Let's see, another question that was asked of me is, did I have a favorite ride at Universal Studios? Yes, I did. And it was called the Hulk. It's this fantastic roller coaster. And one of the cool things about working at Nickelodeon Studios, there were a lot of great things about it, but when we had days when we weren't on set, maybe we were doing pre-production stuff, we would keep office hours as well. And if we were ever, maybe had a slow day, or maybe after lunch, or maybe we just needed a little bit of extra inspiration, we would say, hey, anyone want to go out to the theme park and go on a ride? And how great is it to have Universal Studios really in your backyard? So we would just go out into the park, go on a ride at lunch, and then go back to work. So that was a really great thing. Really, we just worked with some brilliant people at Nickelodeon, really talented, creative, just fantastic people who all came together to put together wonderful television that I know a lot of you enjoyed. When I was contacted to do this video, I was so excited to know that there are so many fans who really appreciated and loved the television that we all worked so hard to put together. And I miss a lot of those people, but the nice thing is I'm still in touch with a lot of those people, so that makes it nice. But I know a lot of you miss Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida, and you were sorry to see it go. I know I was. And one of the questions that was asked of me is, would I like to see Nick Studios back in Orlando? I think it would be fantastic. I don't live in Orlando anymore. I live in Toronto now, which is another fantastic city. But if Nick Studios ended up back in Orlando, I think it would be great. There are still some wonderful people there who are still super passionate about television. They're all working on other projects, but if I think if we all had an opportunity to come together and work on another Nick show, who knows? We all might jump at the chance. Let's see. Oh, here's another question that was asked, and it's a very popular question. Was I ever slimed? And you know, the funny thing is, I really don't know how this happened, and maybe I've just tried to block out the memory, but I don't think that's it. I managed to escape without being slimed. I was there for about 4.5 years, and maybe it was just luck, or maybe I knew the right people, but nope, never got slimed. I've tasted slime, tastes a lot like applesauce, as a lot of you know. And it's just funny. Maybe I avoided a sliming because what I would always hear from people is that it was just really hard to get it out of your ears because you know how when the slime gets dumped on you, it goes everywhere. Anyhow, I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of you wonderful, fantastic fans for watching Nickelodeon, enjoying Nickelodeon. There are still a lot of great shows on Nick that you can watch. They're done out of LA mostly or New York as well. And thanks so much for all you Nick Studios, Orlando, Florida fans. We really, really appreciate all of you and all of that television that we did. It wouldn't have meant as much to us and it wouldn't have been as special if it weren't for all of you watching us. And hey, if you want to keep up with what I've been working on lately here in Toronto, I work on a show called Canadian Better Living. I also did about 22 episodes of a show called Live Here By This for HGTV Canada. You can check out my Twitter, all my Twittering. Well, to be honest, I really don't Twitter all that much, but you can find me at Vivianne Collins or check out my website, which is just myname.com. All right, thanks guys so much. Take care.